roll call, please.
Alderman Orsini. Here. Alderman Hudson.
Present.
Alderman Wilkins.
Present.
Alderman Deckard.
Here.
Alderman Rogers.
Present.
Alderman Magley.
Yep.
All right, if everyone stand for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not mine.
We're good. Okay, that moves us to item. I don't know when that's even. Okay. That moves us to item, I'm going to go ahead. Item 3, special presentations and Memorial Day proclamation. I'll read it right now. Whereas the Congress of the United States of America has designated May 26th Memorial Day to honor our veterans, and whereas the veterans of the United States have been the guardians of our fundamental rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, Citizen Trade desires to honor the valor, service, dedication, heroism of its veterans and those missing in action. I therefore proclaim May 26th our day to call upon all citizens in this community to especially honor and show their support and appreciation to all veterans, and to especially honor our men and women who made the supreme sacrifice. I wish to call on all citizens to make an extra effort to express their gratitude and give their prayers to and for the men and women who have made possible for all people of this country to live in such a free society, that we are so fortunate to have our own great nation. With my most profound feelings, I've signed this day the proclamation of the Citizen Trade of the State of Missouri, and witness thereof the seal and signature of the city are affixed. Signed day this day, 23rd of May, 2025, Chris Cox, which I've signed in a little early, it sounds like to me, but that's what that is, and we'll be having a meeting actually, and the memorial event will be going on as well, which I'll be at that to the proclamation there as well. So that moves us now into item 5, comments from citizens. Comments from citizens are welcome at this time, and everyone is allowed 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name and address when you come up.
Linda Borman, 800 Jason Court. First off, I've been listening since with this new system. I don't know, you said you had it adjusted last week one day? Because last Monday nights, you couldn't hear Harlan, you couldn't hear Jessica, you couldn't hear Denny at all. I mean, so something's got to be done with the system so that you can hear what's going on if you're watching the tapes.
So the microphone had not been installed at that last Monday's meeting.
Oh.
The first time it was used was at the P&Z meeting.
Okay,
And
well,
we
we
had
know what a
technical
mess that
difficulties.
was. So,
Technical
yeah.
difficulties.
Okay.
So we're still working out some bugs.
Okay.
Not these microphones?
Sorry. No, and those actually are not turned on right now.
Yeah.
Then you guys take your white buttons, please.
If you hear that next time,
Well, it'll be a couple of days. I wasn't able to be here last week because of a family emergency, but I know you talked about this tree inventory thing, and I'm still a little confused with it. You put out an RFP, RF, whatever, to get bids to do that. I mean, are they going to inventory every ash tree in this town, or just the ones that are on city property? And what kind of money are we looking at for that?
So, I know we're trying to keep comments from citizens to actual comments, not conversations. It's the sunshine law, and it's not on the agenda, so you're more than welcome to call up City Hall and ask any questions, and I'll be able to respond. You can also state what you wanna talk about, and I can look into it and get back to you.
Okay, well, it is a comment, alright, but it's a question too, so if you're changing the rules, that's fine. You've always let me talk and ask anything in the past. When we do these RFPs or RFQs, are we advertising them anywhere other than on our website? Cause we're not putting them in the paper anymore. And so I'm just asking, and obviously you're not gonna answer, so whatever. Excuse me, Ed, I don't mean to hit you.
Deneen Brady, 720 Green Street. The other day I got a courtesy call, and I'm grateful for the courtesy call about our backyard and some of the length of our grass, and I understand it was a little tall. Frankly, because every time we were able to be home, it was raining and we couldn't mow it. And there's no access for anybody to not get into it and mow it unless we're there right now. But I did ask a question of Sandy Buck on the phone about my complaints about some residential pools that don't have fences around them. I complained about those last summer, and they're still standing up. They still have water in them, so on and so forth. She told me to actually pose a question to the alderman and to the city manager about why she was told to hold off on issuing fines for continuing to have a pool up illegally without a fence around it, because in 2020, when I got my pool, I called City Hall. I asked them about pool ordinances here, and they said we had to have a fence. They saw that we had a fence permit in place and that we had had our fence inspected, and so we were good to go, and they issued us a pool. So, being someone who has pulled a child out of a pool that did not have a fence around it, and they died and had to then tell those parents that their kid had died and we were not able to successfully resuscitate them, what are we doing here? Okay, grass that's a little high versus pools where kids can die. That's my comment.
Thank you.
There at 721 Inch Street, Princeton Trade. I've got a question. I've noticed in contact by city employees to the individual I'm contracting my home from, identifying issues like claiming a tree is blocking the waterway in a ditch, the vehicle on the property doesn't have a license. We're not understanding because we're well past the easement in the ditch, and it was not impeding. But what my problem is, contacting the other party in my contract, which is the landowner, which provides my home, my residence, which can also deny me actual financial and make me non-contractable with the individual. But instead of contacting me, why are they contacting him? I mean, sure, that's not the policy, right?
I don't think I understood. I don't understand. This is a property you live at?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, so who you talking about, the other party? The party, so you don't own the property, you got someone that owns the
I
property,
rent
right?
the property.
Oh, you own the property, okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Rents the property.
Rent the property out, got it,
Yes.
makes sense, okay, now it's understanding, that was the part that I was missing, okay? So,
So yeah, what I'm wondering about city employees contacting the other party of that contract, which I mean, it basically demands me and makes me so I can't be contractable as well as the individual. So I'm just wondering what we need to do about that and why they're not contacting me directly.
I would say we would need to have that question submitted in writing. I mean, I'm still not understanding the factual circumstances. Is there a way for you to either contact Tara as in and actually provide us any kind of information? That would help us at that point to understand what's happening.
And before I requested before the city's insurance, commercial insurance policy and license, I haven't received an answer back on that one yet.
we'll request it as well?
I have.
Again, okay.
I can there.
Okay,
So if we could get a copy, that would be amazing, or put it publicly so we can get it. Or is that freedom of information too?
It's a sunshine law request.
I live at 332 Alco Street. I'm here for two things, both of them concerning Alco Street. Number one, they come out, the city come out, the city sewers and city streets come out, about 3-4 weeks ago, and cleaned out a sewer across the street from my house. Now that sewer is approximately, I would say, between 3 and 4 feet deep. That's where they cleaned it out. I asked them at the time if they were going to put a tile or something down through there, and I was told no. And was told that it was going to stay just like it is, which it has. It's an open ditch. So, and part of the ditch, the west end of it, is higher than the east end of the ditch, which makes the water still stand in the ditch. And I talked to somebody here the other day about somebody coming back and taking care of it. Well, it's been a couple of weeks and nobody's touched it. So I guess the water is going to continue to stand in the ditch. But my main thing is, why can't the city, since that's such a deep ditch along there, put in some kind of a tile? 8-10 inch tile down through there. It's about 100 feet long. They took out enough dirt to cover the tile. Why couldn't they just put that tile in there, cover a little bit of stone, and then put the dirt back over top of it that they took out of the ditch? Now that's on the north side of Alco Street. And anybody wants to drive down Alco Street, they can look over there on the north side and they can see this big deep ditch. And the second thing is, I was also told that the city plans on digging up the tile from Allen Street to the western end of Alco Street. Well, from what I can see, there's nothing wrong with the tile from property 219 on to the end of the west end of the street.
Okay, I think we've got the idea. You want us to check on that as well, which we've made notes of. And your 3 minutes are up, so I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up.
Okay, but I'll be back the next one for the tile, because there's nothing wrong with it.
Seeing no one else get up, I had two individuals bring up to me, they both live on Mace Meadows. I didn't get the numbers, but they both live on Mace Meadows, about 715 South Jefferson. They have 7 dogs and 1 cat that we are aware of.
Where's that at?
715 South Jefferson. It's the greenhouse.
7 dogs and 1 cat.
7 dogs and 1 cat that are known. The dogs are very visible, and I believe Sandy's been out there before. I know she was out there a couple of times, but what are we going to do about it? So that's what I'm being asked.
Got it.
Didn't have a good answer.
It's very clear. The word is very clear.
Yeah.
So, I'll check and see. I had one that I was given, referencing the road across from the high school, Emerald Drive. We're looking for from folks in that neighborhood, turned into me, regarding that over there in Earl's Ward, of street repair that was done that they were unhappy with. And they talked to us a little bit before about that. So, I have that petition here. I'm welcome to take a look at it. We have a copy of it that she has on file, so she knows that came up as well. For us
I
to-
did drive it twice. There's one or two spots that seem bumpy, but not horrible.
But just want to bring it up, that was brought to me before, so. Anything else?
Concrete patch, I guess.
Concrete
patching. On the, is that right? Or asphalt?
There was asphalt. That was the patching that was done. Anything else? If not, then I'm gonna close comments from citizens and we'll move into item 6, the consent agenda. If there's not any questions or anything to be particularly pulled out of A, Board of Alderman meeting minutes, B, Public Works and Utilities Committee meeting minutes, C, General Government Public Safety Committee meeting minutes, D, Planning and Zoning minutes, and E, the Collector's Report, and F, Activity Reports. I will entertain a motion to approve each one.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
First and second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. That moves us to accounts payable. I'll entertain a motion after you look it over, if there's not any questions, about approving accounts payable of $1,250 for a total of $417,904.92.
I would move that we approve for payment accounts payable over $1,250 in the amount of $417,904.32. 92 cents. It's 92 cents. Sorry.
I have a first and a second to approve the accounts payable of $250 for a total of $417,904.92. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. That moves us to 8, action agenda of legal. A is under legal water tap fee increase ordinance 25. It's bill number 2577. Any discussion? Any question?
Didn't we just raise this not too long ago?
So we discussed it during the budget process, but did not pass the ordinance.
Well, we did just raise it not too long ago, correct?
It was either 2020 or 21, I believe. It may have been 19. The big difference with this one is that it does differentiate between same side of the road tap and across the road tap, and the expense of that entails.
So I entertain a motion for the first reading by title only. Bill number 2577.
I move that bill number 2577 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, first and second to bill number 2577 be given its first reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. First reading, please.
An ordinance repealing section 26119 of the Centralia City Code and replacing it with a new section 26119 of the Centralia City Code to set the charge for water connection, water meter, meter box, piping, and all labor necessary to connect to the water system provided by the City of Centralia, Missouri. I move that bill number 2577 be given its second reading by title only.
Second.
Now, first and second that bill number 2577 be given its second reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Second reading, please, sir.
An ordinance repealing section 26119 of the Centralia City Code and replacing it with a new section 26119 of the Centralia City Code to set the charge for water connection, water meter, meter box, piping, and all the labor necessary to connect to the water system provided by the City of Centralia, Missouri. I move that bill number 2577 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Yeah, first and second that bill number 2577 be adopted by roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Orsini,
4.
Alderman Hudson,
4.
Alderman Wilkins,
4.
Alderman Deckard,
4.
Alderman Rogers,
4.
Alderman Magley.
Yep.
All right, bill number 2577 passes, meeting as ordinance number 3212, correct? That moves us to item B, adopting the Boone County Hazard Mitigation Plan for 2025. It's a resolution. Bill number 2578. Any comments or any questions?
This is the plan that I've been working on with, the county, and this resolution's been passed every year, or not every year, every 5 years. And this is how we get FEMA money in the case we have an emergency, a declared emergency.
Move that bill number 2578 be given its first and only reading by title only.
Second.
I have a first and second that bill number 2578 be given its first reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? First reading, please.
The resolution of the City of Centralia, Missouri adopting the Boone County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. I move that bill number 2578 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
I have first and second that bill number 2578 be adopted by roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Orsini?
4.
Alderman Hudson?
4.
Alderman Wilkins?
4.
Alderman Decker? 4. Alderman Rogers?
4.
Alderman Magley?
Yeah.
All right, bill number 2578 passes. That'll be resolution R-25-06. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. That moves us to C, legal fire chief recommendation for exception to motion.
Any questions from the board?
I trust our fire chief. Are we comfortable with the future bill plans was my only question when I read the letter.
He's had the ability to review it, so I believe what the board's got planned out and where the contract will eventually we get to a comprehensive plan goes. I believe that's correct. So that's what he's looked at and relied on. And also current density within that subdivision, he evaluated all of it.
I'll make a motion, we accept the recommendation of the fire chief for a fire code exception.
Second.
Have first and second to accept the fire chief recommendation for an exception. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Thank you. That moves us to a motion under D. Motion to approve the approved tree list. That tree list when we discussed the other day. We took a couple of exceptions that you had.
Very well. I've reviewed the revised list and we're good and clean on it. I would make a motion that we approve the revised approved tree list.
Have first and second that we approve the approved tree list. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. That moves us to E. This will be bill number 2579. It's an ordinance to amend the electrical installation inspection permit fees. Any discussion, further discussion on that?
It's $100.
Yeah, this is what Matt's been talking about, that we haven't been charging anything for that.
Right.
And it will go in effect after we approve this instantly.
I honestly expected it to be more than $100, but based on the conversation.
They looked at average time, average amount of employees to go out and look at the site, and how many times they have to return to inspect it, and that's what they came up with, for an average.
Like on Darren Adams subdivision that he's putting in now, I'm sure half of them he hasn't done it. Now the other half he will do it. I mean, and he's aware of that.
I don't know if he's aware of it, but that would be the requirement. I mean, that's, yes, so anything that's already been done before obviously falls under old rules, but I mean, this one would be what we were doing moving forward. So I mean, the bill was publicly available for inspection and review.
Even for unapproved flats and everything, so this.
So anytime you've got a plat, and in turn I can learn this very, as laws change with plats, even if they are approved, as those like IBC codes change, fire codes, the plat must change with it as things are being built. So even if you've got an approved plat, and let's say the law changes while you're building, the builder, then the new laws, rules, fees apply, even the houses that were in that approved plat that have yet to be constructed. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's why reviewing, like, updated IBC, building codes and stuff are important. Those things are pretty thick and comprehensive, but they do apply to anything not yet constructed.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that bill number 2579 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
Have first and second that bill number 2579 be given its first reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So first reading, please.
An ordinance to amend section 26-15 of the Centralia City Code concerning the cost of electrical installation inspection fees. Move that bill number 2579 be given its second reading by title only.
Second.
Have first and second that bill number 2579 be given its second reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Second reading, please.
An ordinance to amend section 26-15 of the Centralia City Code concerning the cost of electrical installation inspection fees. I move that bill number 2579 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
Have first and second that bill number 2579 be adopted by roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Orsini? 4. Alderman Hudson?
4.
Alderman Wilkins?
4.
Alderman Decker?
4.
Alderman Rogers?
4.
Alderman Magley?
Okay, bill number 2579 passes. It would be ordinance number 3213. That moves us to F, which would be amend the excavation permit fees, which is bill number 2580.
I move that bill number 2580 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
Have first and second that bill number 2580 be given its first reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? First reading, it passes. First reading, please.
An ordinance to amend sections 30-13.3, subsections B and C of the Centralia City Code concerning the cost of excavation permits and maintenance. I move that bill number 2580 be given its second reading by title only.
Second.
Have a first and a second for bill number 2580 be given its second reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Second reading, please, Don.
An ordinance to amend sections 30-13.3, subsections B and C of the Centralia City Code concerning the cost of excavation permits and maintenance. I move that bill number 2580 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
First and second that bill number 2580 be adopted by roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Orsini?
4.
Alderman Hudson?
4.
Alderman Wilkins?
4.
Alderman Decker?
4.
Alderman Rogers?
4.
Alderman Magley?
Bill number 2580 passes. That will be ordinance number 3214. That moves us to G, legal. Amend the temporary electric fee. That's bill number 2581. Any discussion?
I move that bill number 2581 be given its first reading by title only.
Second.
I have first and second that bill number 2581 be given its first reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. First reading, please.
An ordinance to amend section 26-17 of the Centralia City Code concerning the cost of installation of temporary electric meters. I move that bill number 2581 be given its second reading by title only.
Second.
I have first and second that bill number 2581 be given its second reading by title only. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Second reading, please.
An ordinance to amend section 26-17 of the Centralia City Code concerning the cost of installation of temporary electric meters. I move that bill number 2581 be adopted by roll call vote.
Second.
I have first and second that bill number 2581 be adopted by roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It passes. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Orsini?
4.
Alderman Hudson?
4.
Alderman Wilkins?
4.
Alderman Decker? 4. Alderman Rogers?
4.
Alderman Magley?
Bill number 2581 passes. That's ordinance number 3215. That moves us to H, legal. Motion to move forward with the take-home program for the police department vehicles. Any discussion needed at this point?
have two concerns. First one is, where do we set the radius? We've discussed different numbers. One of them's 25, one of them's 30, one of them's, I say 15. We have one officer that drives 29 miles one way. If you apply the IRS travel reimbursement for that, that's over $7,000 a year for a benefit. That's too much to me. We're not going to do that. That's my first concern to me. If we're going to do it, we set it at 15 miles. The second issue I have with it is one of the samples says that they start charging time when they get in the vehicle. Is that true?
That's true.
That's state law?
No, it's the Federal Department of Labor Standards. As soon as you are on duty and step foot in that car, just like utility workers or anything else, you start charging.
But they're not at their duty station.
I understand it doesn't go on duty station, so if you are paying them a per diem rate, IRS, as soon as they step in that car, they are considered on duty because so police, fire, EMT are considered, like.
We don't pay them when they get in a personal vehicle to drive here.
I know, I understand, but it's a city vehicle, so if you want to, I can
Okay,
outline them.
I'm against it. Then I'm
Sorry.
against it.
To be clear, our full-time officers, how many hours a week do they work?
Well, they work 2 days 1 week, 5 days another week.
Okay. Together, for the 2 weeks.
84 hours.
Okay. So we're already at 4 hours of overtime, correct?
No, that's not fair.
That's not overtime?
No, it's not.
Okay. What about the additional time for driving to and from? Would that be overtime?
It's not overtime, it factors into regular work hours, and then whenever they hit 84, anything above 84, so Department of Labor looks at the size of our police department, and it has small and large police departments, so 84 hours is the standard work time. That 4 hours, which we normally see, is not considered overtime.
And they don't accrue overtime until 86 hours, is my understanding.
I think that's right. I think that's the policy.
So my question here is driving time, since driving time counts as work time, and it's not part of the shift time, so that's going to be additional time that they're earning, correct?
I'm gonna have to do some checking to see what the other departments do. I'm almost certain that it's not an overtime issue.
I can double check it, but if it's a city vehicle, so if it's a city police car, which is what I understand they're driving, right, Chief? They're driving an actual city, then it's different than driving your personal vehicle to your workstation. And I can get more clarification on that just to make sure the board has a solid foundation. But my understanding, when you step in a city vehicle, so a city police car, and you could be called out somewhere because you're already in that vehicle, that emergency vehicle, it is treated differently than when you are driving to your place to get into your city vehicle. It is treated differently than your personal vehicle. Am I making sense?
Yes.
But I can provide more information to make this.
So they're getting paid drive time home as well? I mean, if you're paying them, if they're in a city vehicle, they gotta get paid both,
until they
correct?
park that vehicle, they don't clock out, correct?
You gotta get paid both, correct?
Does the officer who drives 29 miles to get here, is that officer full time?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to use that officer. Assuming that somehow he's magically making a really amazing time, he's looking at an hour round trip.
I've never
1 hour round trip. It's 29 miles each way.
I understand the numbers. I'm not disputing the numbers that he's driving. I'm saying in all my time, there's never been overtime generated from driving home, even if you're in a city car.
Yeah. Now, are we going to do a per diem, Chief? Because I haven't been involved in this conversation to help you all craft this policy, so I'm a little out of the loop on it. So, are you going to pay the officers per diem, or are you expecting to drive the vehicle, or is it just a benefit?
I'm having a hard time understanding what you're asking me. Per diem for what?
Well, are some officers getting per diem to drive a personal vehicle versus a city vehicle? Is it
No.
just a city vehicle? Is it just a
City
time?
vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't get paid to drive to work per diem of.
Just like we don't pay them to get dressed at work.
That's kind of the other reason.
And we don't pay them for a shift meeting beforehand.
Department of Labor than like say Columbia would be because they're considered a large department. So you either pay a per diem in a personal vehicle if you choose to, or if it's a city vehicle, again, because once they step into that city vehicle, they could theoretically be dispatched at that time. They are on duty at that point.
So if they are on duty at that point, and if at 86 hours is where overtime starts to kick in, that officer, assuming a 1 hour round trip, would be accumulating 5 hours of overtime every 2 weeks. That's set. He's doing 7 hours of travel over 7 shifts. Half an hour here, half an hour back. And that's assuming really amazing times considering where he lives.
Sydney said you needed to validate that. Hold on. Sydney said you needed to validate that.
Because I want to be fair to the department. I want to make sure I'm giving you accurate information. Like I said, I haven't been completely roped into what you all might be considering settling on. And I want to be fair to the department.
Because I want to put this on hold until we nail down whether or not that is the case. Because if this is going to turn into a situation where we are essentially regularly paying officers overtime because of the travel time of their vehicles, that's not going to float.
Now, if you work in the county, they live in the county, okay, I get that. State, I'd have to see, but they go on duty. I believe state goes on duty as soon as they get in the car, okay? The county, I don't know. The ones that live further out, I don't know either.
If the county.
But I can tell you, they are not generating overtime to drive a car.
County and highway patrol makes sense that they would.
They're in their county as soon as they get in the car. They're in their jurisdiction.
But some of them don't live in the county.
Right. Let's give Sydney a chance to look at this.
Yeah, I think we need to
Before
look at
we
it.
find out the labor law on this.
Before we keep kicking this around.
In our early conversations when we were talking about this, I'm not remembering the departments that you referenced, but they did not pay until they hit city limits or the county line.
Probably not Hamlin, but a little town outside of
Ashland, I think.
Ashland's one of them, but there's another one right outside of Jeff City. Holt Summit are the ones. So
Holt Summit is, with respect.
Those are just the other towns.
With respect, Holt Summit is not a great example for anything legal. They have issues. They have issues.
I think at this point,
I move that we motion or that we table this until our next Board of Aldermen meeting, giving Sydney the opportunity to investigate the overtime or labor aspect of this for us.
I need a second. Is that a second?
Second.
First and second to table the motion about drive home vehicles for the police department until the attorney has the opportunity to review this and give us some clarification.
Will you be able to give that clarification? My question would be, would you possibly be able to attend our public safety meeting next month? Which is, it's 1 week before this one.
I should be able to. I should be able to do this by Zoom.
Because that way, if we do get this all resolved, then we can get this back on the agenda for the meeting.
I would like to get this as quick as possible.
Exactly.
It would be very helpful if Harlan and Tara, you can send me exactly what policy you all are considering and the particular individual that we're talking about, 29 miles, and what we have for employees in terms of driving. That would help me out tremendously.
Okay, thank you.
I have a first and second to table the motion for drive home vehicles at this point for the police department until further vetting is done by our legal counsel. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. H has been tabled. That moves us to I, legal motion to allow city attorney to change the R3 zoning orders to include adult daycares. Definition to be considered would be, as you all see here, adult daycare center, facility licensed by the state to provide health monitoring, therapeutic, and other supportive services in a protective setting during part of the 24-hour duty to 4 or more adults who are age confirmed or who have cognitive or physical disabilities and who reside elsewhere. This use does not include any licensed facility that provides the primary diagnosis or treatment of a medical or mental health condition. This use also does not include a medical
care facility, group residential facility, congregative living facility, or adult day support center.
And I will look into this, just so you know, like, this is a definition that planning and zoning, I think, provided Tara from their meeting. This is not what we are bound to. What you would be asking me to do is to look at a definition. Obviously, we'd have to go through public hearings, both at planning and zoning and then back here before you were able to vote and consider on it, but I think this was what was provided as an example. I will look at it, and it would be basically a back and forth in the beginning with planning and zoning, and what would we like to settle on before it's then advanced up the chain to you to actually vote in an ordinance.
I would like, as part of that investigation, to find out what the requirements would be with regard to, how can I put this politely? I can't. Containment. I ask because a number of years ago in another town, I lived next to an adult daycare facility, which had no, how to politely put it, containment. And some of their wards would just kind of come out and wander around and wander over into my yard and wander hither and yon. So we need to know if there's a provision that requires some manner of fencing or something.
I mean, this is just the initial definition. Tara and I talked about this a little bit. This is probably going to be more extensive than just a single definition, because there's licensing, there's any sort of security or safety considerations, location, like where would you want and allow this to be, permitted? Is it in your R3? Is it R3 above, R2? I mean, this is just a basic definition, so there's still a lot more that needs to be fleshed out around this.
There's a lot of aspects that need to go into consideration of writing.
And to clarify, we're voting on you doing the work to come up with those possibilities, not that you're actually changing the ordinance.
Right now, that is absolutely correct. And this is going to take some time, just so the board is aware. This is not going to be something that I can return to you, or will be coming back up for your consideration within a month to probably 3 months. So this is going to take some time to work out.
In that case, so moved.
Second.
First and a second. To allow city attorney to look at the changing of the R3 ordinance to include adult daycares. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Thank you. That moves us to J. Motion to give the city attorney permission to change R2 and R3 lot sizes. Motion.
And again, there has been a proposal from planning and zoning, which I have not thoroughly gone through, because I want to make sure you want to move forward with this before I start digging into what they've proposed. I may have comments back to them in planning and zoning. So this again is going to be something that is a back and forth conversation, 2, 3, however month process to take a look at these proposed changes before it even comes back up here for you all to consider a vote on an ordinance.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
First and second for a motion to allow motion to give the city attorney permission to change R2 and R3 lot sizes. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I would say, I think that we could change the wording of both of those, just to say that what you're doing the research work to come up with the possibilities to then present back to us to vote on. You're not actually changing it.
No, correct.
Which is not what it says. It says you're changing it.
Yeah.
I see. So to be clear, so that it's clear in the record, the motion would be again to allow me to draft something to eventually come up
For our
to you.
consideration.
I just think we word it differently.
For consideration.
Yeah, for consideration. Yeah. Good catch.
So I have a first and a second. I have a first and a second.
You already
We voted on it, but we need to, do we want to?
No, you're
It's
not.
been noted.
No, I just think
Okay, it's been noted. Got it. All right, that moves us to K. Motion for the allow the mayor to accept Miller Construction homes electrical apartment building upgrade bid, which is in the packet. It's right around $99,000, I think.
$99,906.68.
It's quite a savings over anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would move that we accept Miller Custom Homes Electric Department building upgrade report in the amount of what was it? Yeah, $999.06 and 68 cents.
Second.
Have first and second to accept the motion, accept Miller's Construction's bid for the electric department. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes.
How much was that again, please?
$99,906.68. So 99906.68.
Thank you.
That moves us to 9, purchasing. Motion to accept a bid for the Chevrolet Tahoe for the fire department that we talked about. It's in the packet. Butler, I guess, here it is.
Yeah. In looking around at comparable vehicles, it's actually a really good bid.
I make a motion, we accept the Jim Butler bid for the Chevrolet Tahoe for the fire department.
Second.
And first and second, who accept the Chevrolet Tahoe bid from Jim Butler for the fire department. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Motion to accept a bid to purchase a new electric department service truck.
Why are we getting this? Do we have an old one that's just junk, or do we need another one?
It's not junk, so we're trying to stay with a regular rotation of the vehicles. The electric utility truck, it's time, it's been, I believe, 10 years. I will say all of these bids came in over what we budgeted, so I'm gonna open a discussion on that if we want to go over budget or wait.
What
How
is
much
the year?
over budget are we?
We budgeted, I believe it was $60,000.
That's right, it's right there on the sheet.
Oh,
What's our
yeah, right there.
Well, actually, I was going to ask what the year is of our current vehicle.
We're on a 10-year rotation. So.
A 14 or 15, that would be.
I don't have that in front of me, I'm sorry.
Is it because if it's in good repair, I would just as soon hold on it for now.
I've talked with Matt, and if we needed to push it off a year, it's not a problem.
Okay.
The problem is vehicle prices aren't going to go down.
What are we doing about police cars? We talked about those. We're in dire need of those too.
Well, we tabled the,
Well, taking them home, but we're still gonna have to purchase cars, whether they take them home or keep it.
I think we're holding off waiting to see what this decision is because we need to know how many vehicles
We're buying a lot of vehicles. I need one too. So if you all wanna get a discount.
Yeah. I would move that we table this.
How many miles are on the truck?
I can get back to you on that.
I know they generate a lot of revenue,
Do
but
you
we
have
just
the
bought,
equipment and stuff? It's in there. It's in the packet.
It's in the
we
packet.
just bought in some new equipment. You're not too long ago.
What are we replacing?
The one with the fuel bag, 2010 Chevy pickup, 3-quarter ton.
Okay, so it's 15 years old.
Well, the total mileage, you don't put on that one.
It's not on there. Had 530 miles this last, in April, but
The total
doesn't have a
mileage.
doesn't have a total mileage.
How old is it?
15 years old.
It's a 10.
15? 1-5?
2000, it's a 2010.
Yeah.
How many miles does it have on it again?
It's not
It's
on
not on
the-
the,
Doesn't
it's
say.
not on the report.
We'll find out in 2 minutes if you want me to.
Would you mind?
No, but it's a 15-year-old truck.
Right.
But again, if they're under repair,
It hasn't, we're not spending maintenance.
we're already budget elsewhere.
The problem with these vehicles, when they get to be 10, 15, 20 years old, you start to get dry rot and things, and a lot of things start to go wrong. That's the thing you gotta consider. The life cycle of not the miles so much, the hours on the vehicle, right? Sitting and running and set in place. That's what kills these vehicles for the most part.
Does that truck have the service bed on the back?
Yeah.
It does have.
And that's
We can't salvage that, we'd have to buy that new also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would, I mean, it's probably rusted out.
15-year-old
I haven't seen it.
I mean, granted, we would take that vehicle and put it on,
Purple
like
Wave or
Gov
something.
Deals or.
One of the auction bid sites.
It has 76,152 miles.
15 years old.
What are you gonna do with it? You gonna auction, set up for surplus?
Or do we give it to the recreation department? They're always needing trucks.
76,000 miles.
There is a motion on the table.
I don't care about that, as long as
But
it's got
okay,
tires
you
and
have an
motors.
active, answers an active motion.
I have a motion, yep, we have a motion on the table. Is anybody gonna second the table?
Second. Any motion?
The first and second to table
The table.
by the unit. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. We'll table that vehicle. All right, that moves us to old business. Down here, update for comprehensive plan process.
We got a plan. We got a plan, so we're still moving forward. Actually, Mayor and Tara and I was kind of packing up in here, had a conversation with our RPC director. So they are currently working with the city of Boonville, Missouri, which was not consistent with the information we had previously been provided by the RPC. We thought we were going to be next after Bowling Green, and they conducted their comprehensive plan, but so we would be following after them. We were being told, other than the mayor is going to be working with the RPC to try to move this up. It sounds like they may not even begin the process until after the 1st of this year. So, and I know this is frustrating, but the cost of hiring like a private consulting firm to do this is
It's
astronomical.
extremely expensive.
And when I was explaining this to the mayor and Tara, I've been through 2 of these. This is basically someone's least part-time job, just dedicated to working with the city, with staff, with the citizens and the communities to drive your comprehensive plan and to do it correctly the way statute anticipates that you update your comprehensive plan.
That was a member of one of the planning groups last time around. It was
a
expensive.
lot. It's a lot of time, and so I think for the board, I know this is frustrating. It's frustrating for me and Tara and everybody up here. We keep pushing things off of planning and zoning because we know the comprehensive plan needs to be. We don't want to get the cart before the horse, but now we're being told that the horse won't be delivered until after the 1st of the year. But we're going to try to see if they can't squeeze out some time from what they're doing with Boonville to start working with us. But the update is it's looking at least as early as possibly after the 1st of the year.
I would probably count on that, but I will do my best to see. But the thing is that you got a resource, right? Resources need to be focused fully on what it needs to do the first job they're working on, which is Boonville right now. So having to go after somebody private would be extremely expensive compared to what the RPC would do for us.
You just have to wait.
Yeah, so basically the mayor asked the question and Terry did too, so what do we do? The comprehensive plan needs to be updated according to the face of the comprehensive plan this year. The answer is it's just like a budget that wouldn't get adopted. You roll over. It just continues to carry forward until we get it done. And in this case, there's an acknowledgement in the public record that we're working towards it. It's not like we're being negligent or derelict in trying to update it. So we would just continue with the comprehensive plan as it's currently stated, and we are still in compliance under statute in terms of how that matches in with our planning and zoning regs. Anyone have any questions?
Any more comment?
It's what it is.
New business appointments. We have A, B, C, and D appointments. One would be appoint Scott Long and Chris Wesson for a 3-year term on the tree board. The other would be an appointment of Tinker Dawson for a 3-year term on the Cemetery Advisory Committee, which he's already on. Appointments to appoint Drew Umstead for a 3-year term on the Cemetery Advisory Board Committee. Appointment to appoint Lori Alden for a 1-year term on the Cemetery Advisory Committee as well. Accept all Give one motion if you see fit.
I would move to approve the mayor's appointments as written.
Second. First and second to appoint, for the appointments that were just decided. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Are you one of those appointments?
Chris Watson.
Okay, so that's what I want to say. So thank you for wanting to donate your time. I thought you were. And so thanks for what you do. Appreciate that.
Did you see our new tree approval list?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was there for that meeting.
Good, good.
Okay. Thank you for your service and
We
help. This year.
revised it a little bit, so.
That moves us. Go ahead. You good?
Yeah,
Okay, well, that moves us to 12, and like everybody else. That moves us to 12, City Administrator, monthly report, and whatever you may have.
It's been a busy month. Worked a lot on the RFPs and the RFQs and responding to requests for those. Lots of annual reports came up due, so I've been working on that. I also attended a city managers conference for 3 days. Learned some new things. Going to be presenting some of that information to the board and planning and zoning after getting some of that information together. I'm also going to be attending a MML regional meeting on Wednesday in Holt Summit. There's going to be a legislative wrap-up. I believe City's going to give us some information on that next. But just to kind of see, there's a lot of bills moving through the legislature this year that had us a little nervous. So I'm just interested to see the MML do the wrap-up on that and see how that all turned out. So keep you posted on all that.
That moves us. The thing I really appreciate we talked about is getting value out when we spend our time in the office, because it's hard. We have to be pretty multifaceted in our roles. So I appreciate what you and Marilyn both are doing when you go to these, and the feedback you're giving us, what you're taking away from these meetings and bringing to us to help institute that potentially in our thinking and in our processes here. So I appreciate that. So that moves us to any questions for the city administrator. Moves us to 13, our city attorney.
So, in response to Tara's, last month was busy. A lot of it is with some employee matters and some other topics addressing some questions that have come up from, like Sandy, for instance, on some of our nuisance ordinances and stuff, and also watching what the legislature was going to or not do. So, legislation was officially closed, session closed off on May 15th. So, it was kind of abrupt. It wasn't anticipated, and a legislative, I'll say, lack of a better term, a maneuver was used in order to basically kill discussion and then close the session down early. So a lot of things like the fears we had about the exemption on food, sales tax exemptions did not make it. So that was a good thing for us. Some of the things that we might want to watch, Municipal League does put together a thing, but just to kind of let everyone know, some of the key things for us is that initially they were pushing having the cities pay for relocation for like underground cables, telecommunication costs, and right-of-ways, which makes no, I mean, to me, and this is, I guess, a personal statement, that makes no sense. Why would the city be responsible for moving those utilities, but we're not responsible for moving like Ameren's utilities or someone else if they were in our right-of-way? So cooler heads prevailed. That did not make it, so we are not responsible for that. I think that's probably very important to know. Business licenses, I mean, I don't really think we have much of a problem with this that I have heard of, but if basically a child were to start a small business, we cannot charge that person a fee for a business license. So if they come into the office thinking they need a business license and they're under the age of 18, they're exempt. We don't charge them a business license fee. Also, pertaining to younger kids, there's now going to be an open records exception added to the Sunshine Law about kids that are 17 years or younger. About being able to close those records and how they're closed and at what point in time they're closed, and then obviously when they're disclosed. So again, further protecting younger folks. Outside of that, the sales tax exemption on personal hygiene products and medical devices did pass. So anything that is considered a personal hygiene product, which is, I still think the definition is broad enough, you can drive a Mack truck through, we'll see. But those are now going to be exempt from sales taxes. So that would be revenue that we would not be receiving from those items. And then Tara and I have a work group meeting this week, and then a few other things. So there's still a lot to do within the month, and we're not done yet.
can I say that a new car would make me feel cleaner and therefore it's a personal hygiene product?
Honestly, I will not advise on that. Like, I'm going to keep my. Oops. We'll see what happens. It's a very broad definition.
That moves us to any questions for city attorney at this point. That moves us to our city clerk, who is absent. Not that we don't have a great fill in, broken finger. But she's gone for an annual meeting.
She's at the International City Clerks Conference. Very exciting.
She's in Paris, France. She'll be back too.
She was disappointed this one was local.
No, I don't say this is close.
So she got the scholarship, you thought?
Yeah.
To be fair, if it would have been anywhere other than Missouri, I'm not sure I could have gotten her to go.
So
So
that's good. So anyway, that moves us to closed session.
Is it both 1 and 9 stuff?
yes, please.
I move that the Board of Aldermen go into a closed session. During the meeting, the Board of Aldermen may elect to go into closed session to hold a closed vote. And the purpose of such closed session and closed vote shall be 1, as provided for under section 610.0211 of the revised statutes of Missouri for legal actions, cause of action, or litigation involving a public governmental body and any confidential or privileged communications between a public governmental body or its representatives and its attorneys, and 9, preparation, including any discussions or work product on behalf of a public governmental body or its representatives for negotiations with employee groups.
Second. First and second to go in closed session for those two items stated. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Orsini?
4.
Alderman Hudson?
4.
Alderman Wilkins?
4.
Alderman Deckard?
4.
Alderman Rogers?
4.
Alderman Mackin?
Right, we were going to close.
Did we lose people? It's that far of a walk.
We're returning back to open session. During closed session, there were no votes taken other than the vote to return to regular session or open session. So, back to open session. As may rise. We have any as may rise.
Yes. City Administrator, I know from conversation that you, not too terribly long ago, attended a training seminar, session, meeting, retreat, whatever, regarding zoning and the history of zoning and so forth. I would request that you make whatever materials you have from that available to all of the board.
Yes.
And to his honor.
Yes, I plan on getting all that information out to the board and planning and zoning commission.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That moves us to anything else that may rise.
Can you sell fireworks in the city of Centralia?
Yes, with a permit. And
How long
has
does
to
it
be
take to get the
inspected.
permit?
Not long, but it has to be inspected by the police chief, the fire chief, and the city administrator.
Just the fire chief.
Getting into a new
No,
line.
police
I thought it was just the fire chief, not the police chief.
Hang on, let me
Police chief had nothing to do with it.
Can I have to inspect anything?
Huh?
No.
Looking at a new side hustle?
I was just,
I kind of want something else to do.
I was pretty sure it's just the fire chief. Just got it inspected.
By order, the fire marshal typically is what
Yes.
always is put up in those things.
On my paperwork, it's got to sign off for everybody.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn then.
I'll hang on to these.
I was gonna take me a second, like, there's several ordinances on
Oh,
fireworks.
you're gonna have to.
Hold on,
I'll
hold
make sure
that
that
thought
that
one
is.
second.
I'm trying to hear what you got, who has to sign off, right? Here.
We'll just start selling fireworks.
I'm gonna put up the biggest fireworks fan you ever saw in a
Really?
You can have no more than 5 fireworks sales permitted.
I'm asking.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
You're limited, the city is limited to issuing 5.
5 permits.
There's an inspection of the proposed place of sale of said fireworks by the state of Missouri Fire Marshal or his designee, or the city chief of fire department or his designee.
So you can do either.
So our local fire, Rogers can
Yeah,
inspect.
Donald Rogers can do it. You don't have to get the state involved, right?
No,
Somebody local can.
Denny can do it.
And Harlan can do it too. Well,
I don't see
Denied.
it in there. I'm looking at it.
I just did wrong. Denied.
on too then.
A lot of money, good money in fireworks.
Yeah, and a heck of a lot of noise for 2 weeks before and 4 weeks after.
Yeah, they're gonna buy them outside of town, so they might as well collect the money.
So I'm gonna confirm if you guys have at least, I'm trying to think, I mean, just you have at least 16 ordinances talking about the regulation of fireworks. The main one on the sale is found in 11-1, but it also refers to other ordinances related to fireworks.
So you'd like to recommend that we consolidate those ordinances?
No, because they're all kind of for different reasons and purposes. What I'm going to back Tara up on is there any one of those ordinances that requires the chief of police to inspect? This one seems to imply just your fire chief, but it's also referring to 15 other ordinances, which I don't have time to completely get through to see if maybe the chief of police has to be involved.
And I've done it.
So, Tara, how's the sales tax work on this? Do they have to get an ID number?
Yes, they do, and in fact, the
A
ordinance.
state ID number?
Yes, correct. This ordinance says specifically that the fireworks sales permit application for the person selling fireworks allowed by Missouri law further shall require that the person selling fireworks allowed by Missouri law shall obtain from the Missouri Department of Revenue a certificate that no sales tax is due to the state of Missouri and or the city of Centralia, Missouri. So you still have to go to the Department of Revenue to get a no tax due letter.
Good luck.
Yeah, I might take.
Sorry, that's what I said.
Yeah, I know. You're right. I mean, yeah, you're right. You gotta have sales tax on that, and the city gets their money.
You got a lot of drive-by traffic over there.
Better get started now.
Harlan, can you take care of all that? If I
You don't
come
want me
in,
doing it.
you can. You're not. All right.
Department
I
of
second the motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
First and second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.